Okay, we'll get started here. I want to thank everybody for coming. This is, hang on, don't lose it. So this is this year everybody's aware that this is the 150th anniversary of the founding of AIME. And we were talking, we have a 150th committee, and we have several people here, Mike Hawes, Mike Korb, John Spear,
Tony, me.
Tony, and you. You guys are staff. But we have a number of people that serve on that committee, and we've been talking about what do we do to honor the legacy of AIME. And one of Mike's ideas, and I'll give Mike credit for this, Mike felt that we really ought to look into a plaque here on Lehigh's campus, since the ties between Lehigh and AIME so strong, particularly in those founding years. We may not have made it had it not been for Lehigh and Lehigh's support. And so Mike came up with the concept of this. It's amazing how we've reworked and worked and reworked and worked between Mike and their different ideas, concepts for this. It's just taken quite a long time, but now we finally come to fruition.
2 years in the making. One year of heavy-duty planning on the plaque.
And I have to admit, just without even unveiling this, I can tell you that I am really impressed. It it truly does. And to talk about the setting, it's beautiful. Packard Hall right in front of us here. It's just gorgeous. So the bulk of the people here are AIME board or or related in some fashion to AIME. I just want to thank a couple other people that have come. So from Pennsylvania Anthracite, we have John Boyd here. Pennsylvania Anthracite section is our local SME section. Forget SME, local AIME section, because they were an AIME section. And they were the ones who really, I think, best honor the legacy which was built around anthracite. And we appreciate all they've done for us. They take care of Wilkes-Barre, depends on how you want to pronounce it. They take care of our plaques up in Wilkes-Barre. And we really appreciate all they do for us.
And they just celebrated their 100th anniversary a few years ago.
7 years ago.
Yeah.
By the way, this is Pennsylvania also here.
You did?
We took that up over Lehigh Valley and Philadelphia also.
Right. So they'll eventually, we won't have SME, we'll have Pennsylvania Anthracite section, and it'll be the SME chapter of Pennsylvania Anthracite. Some point back. Where's David? He can appreciate that.
That's the word.
Okay, just a couple other people that we have here. So Jerry Lennon's here. He was kind enough to help us scope this location out here. We appreciate this. Mike turned to him for some ideas and concepts on where we could go with this. This is really great. We have Mark Connor here. Mark's an expert on Friedensville zinc.
Not as much as Mike.
Well, Mike says you're the expert. He says he learns from you.
I have to protest that. I think it's the other way around.
So we'll get a chance to hear a little bit more from Mark over for the field trip.
Both in a historical talk.
And a historical talk. So you'll hear a little bit more about Friedensville zinc and how that all ties to this too. Since Dr. Drown was a new graduating student from Lehigh at the time of the founding of AIME. And so he showed up, he hadn't even graduated yet, showed up, became one of the 23 founders, and his senior thesis was on Friedensville zinc. So I'm sure you'll hear more about that too. So our tie to Friedensville zinc goes way back. Let's see, we also have Beth and John Price with us. So Beth is here. She's very involved with the Women's Auxiliary, AIME. It was founded after World War I and has really done a lot for scholarships for students. And she brought her husband along, who also is an SME member too. But he's just along for the ride. As the rest. And I think I've gotten everybody else knows each other because we've been here for the meeting today. So I should mention. I think everybody else knows each other. I should mention Pat, Mike's wife there. Sorry, Pat, I didn't mean to ignore you. So with that, I'm going to talk just for a few minutes. So we were founded in Wilkes-Barre on May 16, 1871. We came here then for the next meeting that same year. So August 15th, 1871, second meeting of the Institute. What they considered, even though papers were delivered at the first meeting, this was considered the first technical meeting when they came here. And that meeting was held in Packard Hall. And the president, so it was held in there. And we came back in 1886 for our next meeting. So we came back 15 years later. We held a meeting here. John Fritz was actually the chairman of the planning committee for that particular meeting. Fritz Lab is 2 buildings down right from here. So John Fritz was heavily involved. SME, for the benefit of the profession, has taken over the Fritz Medal, which has been given since, I'm going to take a stab at this, it was on Fritz's 80th birthday that they, Carnegie and Edison and all of the people that respected John Fritz got together and came up with this plan to give the Fritz Medal. It's been given since that date.
I'm thinking it's the 20s, sometime in the 20s. 12?
Well, I knew
Oh, wow.
So it's on one of my slides that I'm going to use on Sunday. But anyhow, so we appreciate that. So, and then we came back here in 1906. And for that meeting in 1906, I just want to read a little bit about what was done then. So the opening session was held at 8:30, Wednesday, February 21st, 1906, in the Gymnasium Hall of Lehigh University. It's been tastefully decorated with flags and bunting. Dr. Henry S. Drinker, president of Lehigh University and secretary of the General Committee, who also was one of the founding 23 members of AIME, called the meeting to order and welcomed the Institute to Bethlehem, where its first meeting after its organization in May 1871 in Wilkes-Barre was held. President James Gailey, that was the AIME president at the time, replied in a brief address expressing the thanks of the Institute for the cordial welcome thus extended to it and the pleasure with which so many of its members, especially those who had participated in the early history, were now gathered once more in Lehigh Valley, which was the cradle of its infancy. And you just look how beautiful this is here. It's an unbelievable place to be. In addition to what had already been said already by President Drinker, Mr. Gailey recalled the names of many Lehigh Valley men who had been pioneers of the new industrial era, as well as potent factors in the success of the Institute. In this connection, he called attention to the significant fact that the members who joined the Institute during the first year of its existence came largely from the Lehigh Valley, or were connected with industries which it represented, and that of the names added during that period to the membership of the Institute, a surprisingly large number have become famous as scientific investigators and instructors, or as captains of industry. I'll just add there, it's amazing, 2 presidents of Lehigh. So who would have guessed that an individual just graduating as an undergrad, and then another individual there at that first meeting, both would ultimately be presidents of this institution. In other words, the men who founded the Institute or rallied to its support during the first year which followed were men of first-class ability and promise, as attested by their achievements and present fame. It's really fitting to look at this and just understand how far the Institute had come from 1871 to 1906 when they reassembled here. It is amazing to me that our last meeting in Bethlehem was held in 1906, and we're finally back here in
100 plus years later.
100 plus years later. Just amazing to me that for whatever reason we haven't rotated back here, and it is really great and very historical to be back here. And so we're gathered here today to reveal a permanent form of homage to those close ties of AIME and Lehigh that were established so many years ago, to celebrate the organization's long legacies and continued relevance to the profession and society at large. So Kevin and I are about to pull this off. Kevin, you pull, we can both pull it, it won't come off. Okay, so we pull it off. Yep, there we go. Woo! So this is amazing to me. When we've talked about this and we looked at all the different variants that we could do on this and everything, it's really impressive to see how this really turned out. This really is a nice piece, and it really does highlight the ties that we have. I encourage everybody to come up here. You can look at Packard Hall and just look right up at Packard Hall. You'll see we went through a lot to determine what illustrations were going to be on here. The way this has been done, hypothetically, 100 years from now, you'll be able to come and look at this. And Michelle assures me that the process is used. This will be in the same shape 100 years from now, thanks to metallurgy. Compliments to TMS.
That's right.
So anyhow, thank you all for coming. Anybody else want to say anything? We can have an open floor here. I'm more than welcome to give a floor to anyone who would like to say.
Can you read us what's inscribed?
Yes, I will do that. So it says American Institute of Mining Engineers, commemorating 150 years and early ties to Lehigh. On August 15, 1871, 3 months after its founding in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, the first technical meeting of the American Institute of Mining Engineers, AIME, was held at Lehigh University. The first president of the Institute, Pennsylvania iron industry pioneer David Thomas, presided. Lehigh President Dr. Henry Copey gave the welcoming address, and Henry Sturgis Drinker presented a paper on the mines and works of the Lehigh Zinc Company. Drinker was the first mining engineering graduate and later became the fifth president of Lehigh University. The AIME members toured the zinc mines in nearby Friedensville and the zinc works located along the Lehigh River below the Lehigh campus. So there are several dates here with different things. So 1878, Eckley v. Cox. So if you go with us on Monday to our tour, you'll go to the Cox Village, and you'll see, you get a little bit more understanding. We'll watch the little video there, and you'll get a little bit better understanding of Eckley Cox and his relationship to the early anthracite industry. But Eckley v. Cox, one of the Lehigh founders and a trustee, became AIME president in 1910. His estate donated the Cox Mining Laboratory building. It became Cox Hall. 1894, Lehigh trustee John Fritz, called the father of the U.S. iron and steel industry, became the president of AIME. He designed and donated the funding for the Fritz Engineering Laboratory, which opened in 1910. 1895, Thomas Messenger Brown, one of the 23 founders, became the fourth president of Lehigh. He became AIME president in 1897. And then 2021, now called the American Institute of Mining, Metallurgical, and Petroleum Engineers, AIME's 4 member societies include nearly 200,000 members worldwide. To learn more, visit AIMEHQ.org. Now, those of us that follow us have to maintain the website AIMEHQ.org for the next 100 years.
That's right.
So you don't want somebody coming along. The only thing we probably should have done that we didn't do was we probably should have put a barcode there so you can just put your phone up to it.
QR code,
and it would have taken you right to the website.
Yeah.
But little things like that you learn.
Yeah.
That we have to maintain that website in perpetuity now.
That's right.
So there it is.
or change the.
Or at least a redirect,
So thanks everybody for attending. We appreciate it. And like I say, this is really a neat occasion. And it turned out beautifully. I can't thank the committee enough for the dedication and discussion that went into this. So,